roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Said, what you running from? What you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Said, what you running from? What you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talking, no wriggling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much make it a portrait. Gun kick back, now grannies from porches. David on the sea, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Said, what you running from? What you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Said, what you running from? What you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talking, no wriggling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much make it a portrait. Gun kick back, now grannies from porches. David on the sea, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Said, what you running from? What you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Said, what you running from? What you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. You know what it is. It's Saturday, especially a crazy day. Now, I tell y'all always, if you ever going to drop bad news, you drop it on a Friday. What day was yesterday? Yesterday was Friday. What did Xbox do? Drop bad news. On God and them, we need to get into it. But they did have some good news that they dropped. Pacific Drive, anyone? Now, I'm going to show you how Xbox is that relationship. You know, everybody got a weird relationship. But Xbox is that relationship. He know that he is a F up, but he bring flowers. He know that he ain't no damn good, but he take you out to your favorite restaurant. The wildest thing about it, that man know he ain't no damn good, but he knows your favorite perfume. Xbox is the cheater with a conscience, right? PlayStation just cheat. You gonna get it how you gonna get it, son. You gonna be upset by what they do, and you gonna move like how they move. Now, I heard dudes yesterday talking about, I was saying that was my footage. It wasn't my footage that I was showing you. It's footage that was in the asset package that we had after, playing the demo. So let me explain like how things go, because a lot of times people don't know how things go. And I'm learning. So if it was ever explained early on, then, maybe we could have had a grasp on it. Hold on, let me share this out to Blue Sky. I kind of respect Blue Sky. I love Blue Sky. Blue Sky actually holds me down. And let me tell you. So, and I know a lot of you is probably like, yo, what the hell is Blue Sky? Blue Sky is where a lot of the Twitter people went after Elon brought Twitter. They went over and got this new app called Blue Sky. Blue Sky is kind of how Twitter was before it became super toxic. Right, so that's where a lot of people is at, and when I put on the Supreme Pooh Shiesty, you know what it is. You know what it is. It's ganking time. Pooh Shiesty home. It's ganking time. Time to get ganked. If you don't know what that is, the Jux is in. If you don't know what the Jux is, thank God you lived a different life than me. Now, pause, man. Yo, stop that. Josh. Oh, hold on. I didn't do what I'm normally supposed to do. Okay, this is on this area. Yo, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Like, a lot of things transpired in such a short period of time that actually Eddie Murphy, being Eddie, got a new trailer. That's what's up. Projectile for PlayStation showed something. Defect, Dark Cyberpunk Doom. That looks pretty good. I'm logging in finally, haven't logged in a second. So it's a lot of different stuff that I see that pops up on. It's a lot of stuff that pops up on my timeline that I have to look at and address. Hold on, let me mute that. Now, so y'all do know that the Discord is there. Okay, the analytics, I can push from there. All right, so y'all do know that the Discord is there. You can jump in, get busy, have that conversation, make it happen. That's what's up. We're going to do that a little bit later in the show. Now, we do have stuff that we have to talk about. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. We have to, the growth and development of Xbox. The growth and development of Xbox. Now, I want to thank everybody for showing up for Fight Night Friday yesterday. If you got a chance to see, Dip Down got his so-called revenge in a game that nobody plays any longer. Now, if you're a Killer Instinct fan, I'm sorry for your loss, right? Sorry. Even though Killer Instinct is part of Evo, okay, and it's still a good fighting game, okay. But when you yell out, yo, let's play a fighting game, and somebody yells out from the crack of their behind, oh, let's play some Killer Instinct. You know, either that's the guy that only got one game for Christmas and he mastered that game, or that guy is just a classic psychopath. So I don't know which one you're going to categorize Dip Down as, but that guy is my friend, and he thought he got his revenge yesterday. But what happened in King of the Fighters yesterday was something terrible and disgusting for y'all to see. But it's up there on Frontline Gaming streams for all the world to see, and I don't take it down. So, again, touche, mon frère. 2 weeks in a row, I done run it up on you bums. But it is what it is. But I want to thank everybody for showing up. Now, we do have fun. We play games now. I'm going to get back to a normal cadence this week. Now, I do have to play Sekiro, and that's going to happen. And 6 hours of of gameplay is freaking nuts, boy. But it is what it is. Since people say I don't play any damn video games. And at some point in time, I got to get up there to the other media room. Now, the media room is done. I do got to send one of the desktops out to go get fixed because I think it's something wrong with one of the ports, the display ports, because it's not displaying how I want it. So that's the reason why I'm here, because the monitor is up there. I'm not able to switch back and forth. So I'm able to switch back and forth and show you what's going on over here. And that's pretty much different. And I got to respect people that actually take this craft with high regard. Growth. Yeah. You said they're growing in debt. Play anywhere is in a feature as a business principle. New Sega. If anything, Xbox will be more in line with Epic. Xbox is definitely going the Sega way. However, with the money Microsoft have, they can stay in as long as they want. I love different opinions. Different opinions is great. And then also, I want y'all to understand, like sometimes when you craft things from your perspective, you miss key elements that may hurt your stance in things. And we're going to talk about, is Xbox the new Sega? Is that possible? Can they even be considered that? Or is it something else? Is it anything else? Quite possibly, it could be 1,000 other things. But sometimes people can't remove the bias that they have against something. so they don't get a chance to actually see stuff. Like, anybody has ever told you that you're too close to the problem? This is the reason why. Like, if you're a private investigator, you can't investigate. Well, not a private. If you're an investigator, if you're like investigator for police, a detective, and you can't investigate something that you are 2 steps away from, like directly connected to, like a family member or close friend or something like that. Because sometimes when you're too close to the situation, you tend to miss key elements. And I think sometimes when people have an objective hate against something, they are standing too close to key elements and they don't get a chance to see it for what it is. Now, I know you're going to say, King, you are standing too close to Xbox, so you will miss key elements. I have a greater level of information based upon relationships and conversations that I do have, so I can just lay the facts bare. And as far as objectivity, I'm going to tell you, honestly, I'm going to be biased towards something that I love, regardless to what, right? That's like telling me to convict somebody that I understand that I actually have an affinity to. Just really can't do it in the sense that other people can. Now, what I will say, and that's the difference between me and a lot of other people, they won't release their bias. They won't tell you that they're biased. They will just gaslight you and steer you to answering the questions how they want you to. Me personally, I'm just going to lay it flat, but I'm going to also present the facts, and I can actually objectively say certain things are absolutely wrong. But in seeing a couple of things, and I touched on this week, that, with Fatsumi News. So Fatsumi is a Japanese website publicized in Japan, basically, and then disseminated across the world. Well, while Phil was in Japan, he got a chance to sit down with Fatsumi. So I know a lot of times you like, why would they? Because they have an inherent bias against Xbox. They should have an inherent bias against Xbox because Xbox hasn't made a dent in that country at all, in a substantial way. Like, if you are relegated to a shelf, you really didn't make a dent there. But when you are part of the greater in which they do game. Now, what I did notice out while being in Japan, Japanese gamers game heavily on PC. They do have shops set up all over the place. So we went there looking for arcade rooms. You're not going to find those. Those are not there. But what you will find is shops that are set up with desktops, and they're playing games there, and get desktops selling stuff in the stores with games running on it. So a lot of the games are being played through desktops, or if they do happen to have a mobile device like the Switch 2 or something small like the cell phone or a tablet or something like that, those stuffs are being useful. Now, there are segments of the population that do have consoles, of course, because those are people that are tied to it in that manner. But the majority of the stuff that I did see, and I don't get a chance to go inside people's houses to verify what they have, but what the stuff that I did see, and from what that I did gather by talking to different developers and everything like that, PC is pretty much the dominant force that's there in Japan. So when Phil comes out and he says something like they're seeing growth in Japan in this new interview with Fatsumi, they were there to promote Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden being promoted there is a huge thing. They did a whole ceremony, a ribbon cutting ceremony with the swords that they had there. What is it? The Raven sword and the Dragon Clan sword from Ryu and from Yakumo. Yakumo, Raven, Yasuke. Not Yasuke. Whew, Freudian slip. Right, Hayabusa, the Dragon Clan sword. So they got both of those swords that are made. That video is up for members. Y'all can go check that out. But they had both of those swords there, and they did a whole ceremony. It was a big thing about it. Aaron and I talked about it, all the stuff that they was doing, the merch and all that other stuff that they was coming out with, and how they was going to promote it outside of Tokyo Game Show. Debuted it there, outside of that, showed it. So Tokyo Game Show had a big thing there. You know, they talk about the ribbon cutting here. Now, I got on them based upon the fact that they didn't have a booth out there in Japan. Nintendo didn't have a booth out in Japan, but the Nintendo, you walk down the street, there's a Nintendo something everywhere. Literally, there's a Pokemon guy probably standing on the corner flipping a sign around. I don't know. But PlayStation had a booth. Now, the booth wasn't populated, and I wasn't there for the last day. The booth wasn't populated, but they had a booth regardless to what, and it was showing Ghost of Yode. So I just felt that that was an opportunity for them to be present. But upon further notice, going to every booth had an Xbox controller, be it an Asus controller, be it an original Xbox controller, be it a third-party controller, it was an Xbox controller. Now, these Xbox controllers was hooked up to PCs. These PCs were running the games. And there I understood what their strategy was in trying to infiltrate in other regions where they are not dominant, they don't have a presence, and they are actually trying to gain ground. Now, Xbox playtime in Japan has increased by 20% in the past year. That is all due to everything that has to do with PC. Has really nothing to do with console because the console is not moving out there like that. And if you go by the store shelves, you could tell, right? And you could tell exactly what's actually moving and what's not moving. What's really moving is the Switch. So you got to ask yourself, what is the market penetration based on the facts that are presented to myself? If the facts that are presented to me, when you go to the PC section, they have a large selection of Xbox controllers per PC. And they sell bundles based upon you purchasing your PC, getting a gaming setup bundle that will come with your monitor, that will come with your controller, your keyboard, your mouse, and the desktop. Then they sell laptops that come with a PC like bundle, gaming bundle, and you will get an Xbox controller again. So in doing so, I understood a couple of things. And they talked about OD and when would that thing be released. And that's a little bit down the line. We just got a chance to see the trailer of OD, and that's the reason why they was talking about OD, because we got a chance to see the trailer of them releasing it there. But after dissecting their strategy, looking at what their strategy is in a place they don't really have a presence in, I realized that their whole basis of the strategy is PC. This level devices, because these were all over the place. They were making sure that you got a chance to touch the form factor. You got a chance to play the games. If there was a device that was there, let's say you go to a booth and you saw a Switch 2 that was there and a PlayStation. It was also a PC with an Xbox controller or a ROG, right? And that was the Xbox representation, not an Xbox console. That was the representation. And I understood at that moment that they are making sure that regardless to what, in every booth, there will be a presence. The reason why this is a huge factor is if you go to Summer Games Fest, and you saw the video that I posted today with Summer Games Fest because I was going through a collage of some stuff. Summer Games Fest, if it didn't have, if you went to the booth and it had a PlayStation and a Switch, or had a PlayStation, sometimes there was an Xbox console. Now, if you go to the booth and you see a PlayStation and an Xbox, or a Switch and an Xbox, Xbox was represented. Microsoft was making sure that Xbox was represented regardless to what in TGS. And that's what I took away from that. So knowing that, I understand what he means by the level of growth, the 20% that they had in that marketplace, because now your strategy has switched to everything's an Xbox. And that was a smart strategy, even though I got on that strategy for being as bland as it was, as open as the statement was. I thought that marketing to me was piss poor. Oh, everything's an Xbox, because as a console warrior on that aspect of it, that was straight ammo for these dudes. Because you had people saying stupid stuff. Well, is my hairbrush an Xbox? Stupid stuff, just stupid stuff. And I said, okay, now I understand it. You're training, grooming the consumer into removing the set barriers that we have in our head with the expectations that Xbox needs to be a stationary device, a device that you go to and you sit down and you game in one area. Breaking those chains and those barriers along the way is very hard if it's rooted in long-standing dogma. We're stuck. Like a lot of us console dudes, we're stuck here. We're stuck in the aspect that give me a physical console, give me my physical games, focus on my energy on this big television that I purchased, and I set aside time to game. If that sounds like you, that sounds like me. And if that sounds like us, that sounds like we. But then there's a whole bunch of people that is outside of our perspective on how we play games. You see, we play games that way. Is my man on? Oh, cool. We're going to jump. Yo, let's play this Battlefield. Hey, yo, did you see Marvel Rivals? Yo, they got the new zombie mode. All right, let's get in it. We could be the same character too. So that level of conversation happens that way. Whereas my son will sit there with this device, his phone. And he didn't want one of the latest devices based upon the fact that he needed to have the latest apps. No, he just wanted it so it can run Resident Evil better. And I'm like, excuse me? What the hell are you talking about? Then he showed me the games on his phone and I'm like, hey, yo. But that's mainly how he games in between time. I'm like, yo, you can grab the Steam Deck or whatever. Get to it, whatever. So now my engagement level has changed from that small amount of time that I set aside to play my games. And when I'm just sitting in the kitchen waiting for the dog food to finish steaming so I could chop it up and give it to him, I'm sitting here. When I'm inside the car getting an oil change, I'm here. When I'm doing anything, when I'm in the bathroom, I'm here. It removed me from the other stuff that was taking my time. Now, hold on. Because there was something that went up that really talked about this in depth on what these guys thought. Whose device? Hold on. They talked to me about that. Nah, man. Sucks. I thought I had it there. I don't have it there. Somebody else probably sent it to me and I'm going to go look for it. But how Xbox felt. Yo, what's going on live? What's good, King? What's good, Hammer? Everybody. Lycos was good. I'm like, oh, Famitsu. And I said Fatsumi. Yeah, you're right. Fatsumi is something else. Famitsu. Yeah, I meant Famitsu. Yeah, my bad. Because I don't even pay it no mind. I'm dead ass serious. Like, I really don't. And because that publication, man, and that's from a console warrior standpoint. That publication actually was dogging Xbox for a long period of time. Now I know why, but they were dogging Xbox for a long time. So thank you. I appreciate it. Mr. West, how are you? You said you're starting to believe Mikey Barra is on to something. Mikey, listen. Mikey Barra has great insight from where he is, right? where he's been in the industry, the people that he knows in the industry, the people that's probably still working at Xbox, and philosophies actually change. Do you know if I say something like consoles are dead as we know them? And that's a blanket statement, right? Because I'm including everybody in that aspect. And let me tell you what I mean when I'm saying that, because then that could be taken out of context, right? What I mean when I'm saying that is, traditionally, when I was growing up, I went out to the store and let's say I brought a TurboGrafx, right? The TurboGrafx played PC Engine cards. That was like probably one of the first back compats, I think. I don't know. Right? Let me do Nintendo. Let me do Nintendo instead. Pause. Right? Let me do Nintendo. Let me say the NES. I brought my NES. Had my Double Dribble, had my Zelda, had all that stuff. And when the Super NES came out, it was a total refresh. It was something totally different. It wasn't like anything carried over, right? So traditionally, from that aspect, my mindset when it came to consoles was each generation, each console, each new iteration of whatever device from whatever company is a separate entity onto itself. And I had to start over where my library never carried over. We're in a digital age where our libraries follow us because we made a digital self and a digital footprint, and that is our kind of entitlements in these licenses. Now, that's a slippery slope because you can do something that pisses off the manufacturer that has that license, that hold that license along with you, even though you purchase it. You purchase the ability to use the license, not own the license. It's like it's a difference, like if you go to GOG and stuff like that. So, in that sense, consoles traditionally is dead, right? Because I don't give a damn how much I pissed off Nintendo. I don't care if I took actual footage of me playing my NES. It's nothing you could have did to stop me. Short, send the police to my house. But now these manufacturers and corporate entities have a greater grasp and a greater control over us as a whole when it comes to these gaming devices. Now, Mikey Barra having the conversation that when he said that to I'm gonna call it a child because I'm not gonna say it's a guy because he doesn't know if it was a child or not. It could have been somebody as young as my son. And he didn't say anything wrong, didn't curse the kid or anything like that. He said, your console's dead. And, well, text this thing. He didn't verbally say it. And in his opinion, that level of snipe could be warranted, right? Could be warranted for him. He could have got sick and tired of the dude and said, yo, your console's dead. Hiya. Deal with that. Yeah, for the console warrior, that conversation, yeah, your conversation is dead. Like, what conversation do you have now other than the grasping at straws or we're trying to make something funny? See, the whole warrior mentality is just fun. Yeah, they hate Xbox. George Parcells, member for 22 months. Oh, man, 22 months, man. We've been rocking. I appreciate you. Member X Rank, I got you, bro. 2026 is looking fire for Xbox. People need to stop living in the 20s. The 2000s. This will be the future of gaming. The future of gaming is already now. The future of gaming is now, and it was initiated with this device. And I know you're going to say, King, devices like this and device before this that preceded this was rarely available. The reason why this device is so important is because this is an OEM device with the Xbox brand on it. Now, I know you're going to say in the past, devices was made by other companies that bore the logo of companies before it, i.e. 3DO, Philips CDI. They had multiple iterations of the console by licensee, and they were able to make it like the Gold Star 3DO, Panasonic 3DO, yada, yada, Samsung, stuff like that. The difference here is this is a major player lending their branding to a device and standing behind said device in the manner that I will adopt the kid. Right? That's my son. That's my kid. Right? So it's in that vein in which the Xbox ROG allies looked at, and how the future of manufacturing, gaming, and production is forever changed. This is the first time a major player. See, normally what will happen is if a competitor doesn't cut it in the space, they bow out completely and just leave. This is the first time in this space, and I'm only using this device because I don't have the VR. I didn't get the VR because I thought it was the weaker version. Had they had the MetaQuest 3, the one that I got, the stronger one, had they had that available instead of the S, then I would have got that. But putting your branding and standing behind something shows that the level of commitment that you have for these devices is in line with you producing it actually yourself. What you did was you take pride in your grass, and if you have a gardener, why are you taking pride in it? You see, we choose to pick what we want to take pride in, and what we want to call ours and what we want to call not, or what we want to say as an Xbox and don't say as an Xbox. So they have blurred the lines to the point that right now they can at any moment drop a console manufactured by somebody else, have their name on it, and ship it out. And there's not a damn thing that you can say about it, because this is an Xbox is a real thing. It's an actual real thing. And it infuriates and frustrates individuals based upon their biases for their argument. Their arguments aren't sound anymore because the paradigm has been changed. Gaming has forever been changed based upon what this is, what's transpiring right now. Now, I know you're going to say, King, you're ducking the fade when it comes to this Halo campaign. Would you actually talk about the Halo campaign? Blessings, Yobi. What's good? Peace, love, life, my brother. You said PlayStation 5 outsold Switch 2 last year. How many did you buy, and are you a part of it? Did you get a chance to see my NPD that was out there? The weakness in touting things that you have no part of is actually astounding, but I appreciate that you showed up to show your level of ignorance inside the chat, so that way we could talk about it a little bit further. I don't ever truly care too much, honestly. I really don't. But I do it for fun because it's actually fun trolling people. And I haven't been able to say anything other than how much money that Microsoft is making off of Xbox, forcing these guys to do a 30% thing. We're going to get into that. But because I get DMs from different individuals, and we're talking about the predicament with Amy Hood. And in the predicament, let me read what I said to the individual, because he was kind of concerned. And they asked me, they said, yo, are we stuck with Amy Hood? I said, maybe, maybe not. She really isn't that bad. What went wrong was Xbox outsold Windows. That's made them a target. And he said, but if it outsold Windows without them, why not just let them to do what they were doing instead of meddling? And I said, that's just how corporations run. Anything successful is pretty much screwed. Because what happens then, it's like you having an anomaly. You ever go to the doctor and they bring in another doctor to look at you? First of all, that's the scariest shit in the world. That's one. Two, bringing in another doctor. Why you did that? But they're bringing another doctor, and they bring in another. Wait a second here. What's going on here? What's up? And they go, well, you have this rare genetic case, and something that you had, you no longer have it, and we want to know where did it go and what happened. So when Xbox outsold Windows, everybody in the company tried to figure out what the hell are they doing, what's going on. Get down there, let's figure this out, let's make this happen. And then they did it again. Well, now we got to see how it is, because remember, Windows is their bread and butter. So if you're out selling the bread and butter, see, that's how Phil and them got that glow up. If you're out selling their bread and butter, okay, now we got to exploit this. Maybe this is the new bread and butter. And everybody comes in and everybody checks it and everybody figures out what they're going to do. We got to make this happen. So it's a lot of moving parts in a $4 trillion company, and Microsoft and Xbox is just a small part of what's going on there. Yeah. You said MAUs comes with console sales? That's an absolute lie. Monthly active users comes with you being connected to the infrastructure. That's the reason why Microsoft and Xbox went after Discord. Because the monthly active users on Discord, if you can get them locked in and get into their blacklist, the list of clients, then you're able to sell to those list of clients to enhance your monthly active users. Monthly active users is not tied to consoles. That level of ignorance should not be displayed in the chat. Microsoft has over 525 million monthly active users. PlayStation has 120. And it fluctuates between 118 to 124. The level of ignorance displayed is nuts. All right, so the Halo campaign Evolved is a gorgeous remake that debuts on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox in 2026. And now, sometimes you can look at these titles, and you know what kind of triggers me? The fact that the PlayStation is in front of the Xbox. I don't know. That's why I be wearing the fatigues and stuff like that. I'm not saying that I'm all the way wrapped too tight. I'm just telling you. But the Halo Studios has rebuilt the Combat Evolved for a new generation of players. Now, me personally, I told you I played it. And I have mixed feelings about it. But again, it's a year away. So any rough edges better be ironed out. But I do appreciate Microsoft and Xbox giving the Iron Lords the opportunity to play the 20-minute demo of the Silent Cartographer. And that map itself is iconic in Halo lore. And okay, I wasn't thoroughly impressed as much as many. Even my panel mates, it was two of them that were super thoroughly impressed. Now, when I was speaking to Cog, I told him I played it on this Series X. I played it on that Series X. This one is hooked up to the monitor. That one is hooked up to an LG. I went upstairs and played it on the Series X upstairs, and that one's hooked up to the Samsung. So I got a chance to see it on different displays. Now, I saw Tom Warren say something about take off VRR, and VRR is not on in that room over there. So again, I got a chance to play it on different displays to have my opinion based on it, and my opinion was based on me playing it in multiple areas. And in doing so, we only had the Series X version of the game to play it. So my experience with it is a little bit different than most. I got a chance to play it on different display units, different televisions, if you will, and a monitor. And it was multiple different downloads, right? So you can't tell me that the install was bad. So don't tell me that the install was bad or whatever. I'm just saying that early on, it was a little rough around the edges. Tiz Baby, with the $5 super chat. King, I remember during the ABK trial, Amy Hood said that we need ABK to make money right away. Facts. Those levels of expectations placed upon a deal is unrealistic, to the sense that if the trial was never supposed to happen. The deal was supposed to go through. They thought it would take a short period of time. Remember, they thought it was going to be done in the spring. Shit was years later. So those years of them not making money and falling behind and behind and behind, and the anticipation of, that's why they jumped the gun before it was even finalized. We don't care. We'll deal with the fines. We're putting the games out. We're making it happen. That level of indifference to whatever the fines may be, and Lord knows whatever the fines are, is crazy. But that level of indifference showed the level of desperation based upon them needing to be cleaner with the books. That's around the time they stopped reporting console sales. That's around the time they stopped reporting numbers, because those numbers weren't looking good to shareholders that were being held up by the ABK deal. Now, some people will say that the ABK deal is the reason why Xbox is in this trouble. If that doesn't happen, they're not here. That's it. A lot of you guys want to say, oh, I wish it never happened. Then you wish they're not being here, because their being here isn't as bad as you make it out to be, unless you're a console warrior. And maybe you don't know that you are. Maybe you don't know that you secretly are on the side of fight. Maybe you fought so long that you forgot that you just fight off of instinct. Hate those dudes, right? I mean, I see it. I see people literally say, I hate that guy. Why? Because he has a PlayStation. Oh, are you crazy? Like, really nut stuff. Or I really hate that company. And me joking around, playing around with people, and actually getting a chance to see people in real life really feel that way, I'm like, bro, you do know this is games, right? Like, you do know that, right? Yeah, but I hate them. Makes me look at you different. Makes me look at you funny. Like, because at the end of the day, I come up from a different era. Like, I don't come up for the era where, and a lot of dudes are financially capable of buying multiple consoles. They choose because they hate this console. They choose not to because they hate that console. Based upon conversations they had with people on Twitter they didn't never meet in their life, on some faceless anime avatar that is telling you stuff that they have no idea, whatever. Shout out to X1 the Gamer. That tweet was crazy. But I come from a different era. I come from an era where Pokemon is, you got to catch them all. The GoBots, Voltron. I come from collecting every line of a toy, a G.I. Joe's. Like, I come from that. I come from actively purchasing everything. And if you didn't have it, then your friend had it and you came and you played. So that level of bias, like, oh, I hate you because you're over there and I'm not going to buy that. Oh, no. Wait a second here. You're bugging. I don't do that. That's different kind of conversation. That's different kind of mental illness. My mental illness is I got to have it all. That's my mental illness, right? So that's that. We're gonna stay there. But so seeing this level of behavior, now I'm trying to gain a greater knowledge of these dudes and understand where they was. So this leads me to Sarah Bond saying the idea of locking it to one store and one device is antiquated for most people. The newfangled people finds this level of thought process stupid, dumb. Oh, remember them Tiger Toy handhelds? Oh, man, I had like 4 or 5 of them. But I had Game and Watch. Pocket, Pocket, what's it called? Pocket Watch? Game Watch. Nintendo cornered the market. I got my ass tore up for that one day. Like, I did something stupid. But I got the new one that Nintendo came out with. I had to get it with the Mario Brothers. I had to get it. And it was just it was our level of gaming was like different. But the idea of locking stuff off, and I put out a video based upon this whole notion that it's a struggle for console warriors. This is a struggle. And I'm seeing it on Twitter. Like, people are losing their rabbit ass minds on Halo, making it over to PlayStation and other devices. Do I like it as a console fighter? Hell no. Nope. Let them starve. As a gamer, I don't give a shit. Like, seriously. Like, do I care? Not at all. All I care about is my copy. Like, that's the selfish level of gaming. All I care about is my copy. All I care about is my screen. All I care about is my TV. All I care about is my controller. You're one of those dudes that goes to somebody's house with your controller because you don't want nobody touching your controller. You plug your controller in. I'm that dude. I care about my controller. Me. So, yeah, for a long time, I was the only kid. So, yeah, I ain't sharing. I don't give a damn. But, Xbox president says Microsoft is seeing plays evolve way past big blockbuster exclusive games. And this is what I'm trying to figure out. What the hell is a first-party AAA game nowadays? Because when your first-party AAA games can make it over to another console, well then, is it a third-party AAA game? The language as first-party, is that dead? Language of first-party should never be uttered out of these companies' mouths. Right? That Mashable interview had way more nuggets of knowledge that Sarah Bond did in that small, brief conversation that she had with him based on the language that she was using. Because again, when they say they launch this device, they stand behind this device as a device they made, in the same breath blaming Asus for the price. It's pass the buck, pass the blame. Like, yeah, that's ours, but we had no control over the pricing. That's them. So Microsoft. PlayStation just won't say anything. They're just whatever. That's it. They just not gonna say a damn word. Nintendo ain't gonna say a damn word. They will tell you that the market forces them to have a variable pricing strategy. And you guys would be like, okay. Xbox would be like, they did it. I'm so sick and tired of getting hit in my head. I'm tired. They did it. Yo, she definitely nasty with the wordplay. Don't even act like she's not media savvy. That's why when I put that video, dudes is like, oh, you jocking what she's saying. Actually, nah. What she's saying is what she's saying. But she's never lied. Like, when people tell you that they're being disingenuous, hell no, they're not. They're actually being very, very wordy. Phil said 4 games for now. Well, now is over. Now is over the moment that he said now. Like, 4 games for now? 4 games is now, just, for now. For now. That now was over the moment that now happened. Now, see, I can say now and it's over. It's past. Now. Past. Now. Past. You understand? The usage of words with highly intelligent individuals in a marketplace that is as volatile as gaming and the industry and the corporate structure, in which the tier level that Microsoft and Xbox is playing on is so cutthroat that you have to be damn cold with your words, right? But this brought me over to this level of conversation. if you still believe we're gonna talk, because I'm gonna talk about that hashtag no PlayStation 6. I'm gonna keep them that wording here, because again, maybe you don't understand what the hell I'm me talking about. But this thing here, Phil Spencer says the next gen Xbox is first party, and the Xbox Ally hints at what comes next. What the hell does first party mean? What do they consider first party? Do they consider this first party? These are the questions that needs to be asked by journalists. You see, that's the reason why when Iron Lords get in front of somebody and we have these questions, we ask the absolute pertinent questions to what the matter is. Now, a lot of times those conversations is off the record, all right? But the knowledge, if I had said knowledge, which I don't have said knowledge, the knowledge in that being that they launch a console, the console is in the wild, they stand behind the console as if it's a first-party console. Now, the console that they're talking about, they're saying that they're not exiting the hardware business. And they're not. With the Xbox ROG Ally X and the Xbox ROG Ally, you're not. You're still in the console market. You just define the parameters completely different than normally how it was. See, when Sega left the marketplace, they didn't have an avenue or a partner that was able to partner up with them to keep them viable in the marketplace, because that level of structure wasn't available to them at the time, because they didn't have the finances enabled to make that happen. They had the software, they had the IPs, they had their language that they're able, and their branding that they're able to talk to their consumers. But they didn't have the financial backing to stay viable in the marketplace in a capacity that made any difference. Microsoft and Xbox has the financial capacity to stay viable in the marketplace based upon they have partnerships throughout the industry that they can pull on at any time. You see, they did back the G Cloud. They were there. But when that device didn't pick up traction or didn't pick up enough steam or wasn't exactly how they expected it to be, because the PlayStation Portal came out at the same time but was cheaper, did the same things at a better, more efficient rate, they stepped away from them. But it wasn't called the Xbox G Cloud. You see, the ROG Ally came out and it was out there and it did its thing. And remember, I didn't like the device. I had the device. I didn't like the device because I thought the interface was clunky. So I got myself a Steam Deck. I haven't picked up my Steam Deck since I had this device. So your thinking here now is, now they back this device because they backed this device. They made a device based upon the success of ASUS in the marketplace with the ROG Ally. So you co-opt and you help and you get a user interface. Remember, leading up to that Ally coming out, they had a game bar. They was working on game bar. They were working on small text, making the fonts better, working on touch capabilities, working on handheld sensibilities that we thought was going to be that standalone handheld device. When lo and behold, the device that we're talking about, we were looking at was this device. Now, maybe they were doing a device in conjunction. Maybe that device was being worked on at the same time, simultaneously. But once they did put this device in everybody's hands and they got the feedback, they had to either stop production, cancel production, or remove that device that they were working on to focus squarely on this device that now, for all intents and purposes, is a first-party device. So the conversation that we're having here is the next Xbox. a OEM product masquerading as a first-party device? Or is it a real first-party device made by Xbox, marketed by Xbox, distributed by Xbox and Microsoft? Or is it an OEM device made by, let's say, Hewlett Packard, HP? I'm that old that I say Hewlett Packard. You see how marketing and branding works with different demographics? Y'all say HP, and even when I'm there, even when I'm with them, shout out to HP, HyperX, the microphone. You got to understand, there comes a time where in gaming, we're seeing shifts happen. You happen to be alive for this shift that's happening. Because these consoles are going to become incredibly costly. Premium devices, if you will. Remember that. Premium devices. Sarah said that, and immediately we went straight to the ROG. Because that was marketed as a premium device. And in marketing that as a premium device, we see the price tag. Now, if you're putting something together that has way more tech in it than that, and that thing is $1,000, then King's idea of $1,499 is a reality. And it was always a reality based on the fact that MSI Claw, I think it's $1,399. So then again, I'm not far off in what I'm saying. I'm not far off in how it's being displayed. I'm kind of close in what's happening. But then they throw me a curveball with information like there's a possibility that they get out of China in manufacturing and bring it to the States. Be that the EU, shout out to Jez, or the US, shout out to myself, or both. And in saying that, then you will ask yourself, then is it a partner program or what? What's happening here? Because the chipsets will still be manufactured from AMD. And how are you going to get said chipsets? How are you going to get the GPUs? What's going to happen? Are you going to put it all together at these warehouses that you have? Or are you going to buy them partially assembled? What is going to be the logistics in these devices? Because if they're not all put together in one warehouse, then the question leads, what is the failure rate on these devices? Because the failure rate is going to skyrocket through the roof based on the logistics on getting it from point A to point B, because something can happen in between the two. Will we have a red ring of death situation? This thing is different now because we're weighing in factors that changes variables based upon new information that is dropped daily. You said it's a hybrid PC and not a console. It's not. If a console sales don't matter, then how do you measure if the ROG was successful? The ROG was successful enough the same way the Steam Deck was successful enough because enough people and the zeitgeist make it successful. You see, like, the way everything is structured now, because financially the world is changing day to day. Whereas tomorrow, the way that you purchase your food is different, right? The way we see things change daily. So to get exactly to your point, the number I think is somewhere like 4 million or close to 5 million for the Steam Deck. You said the ROG is like probably 2 million, maybe. In a market where something is $1,000, to sell 2 million of those things without any subsidizing is a feat within itself. See, this phone costs $1,600, but it's subsidized. I pay it monthly. I never see it. And by the time I get out of that contract, I'm rolled back into another contract. And Microsoft tried to do that with the Xbox Series consoles, which I think they put that program together kind of poorly. I think the program should have been put together a whole lot better. But that program was put together poorly, and it could have actually made some sense. But without subsidizing, you see the skyrocketing prices of consoles. Now, what is deemed successful with the high price tag? Soltech with the membership, my guy Soltech with the $2 super chat. Please like and subscribe. That's my dude. Blessings. He got a chance to hang out with us while we was in Cali. Got a lot of pictures with him. My man is very knowledgeable and very cool. Listen, he gets a chance. A lot of times people get a chance to walk around and hang out with us and get a chance to see things that they say, oh, snap, that's crazy. And he got a chance to do that. PlayStation 6 is coming in at 800. Xbox is coming in at 1,000. No, I'm sorry to break that news to you. The lower end Xbox will be $1,000, and the PlayStation 6 is going to come in at $9. All right, and that's if the PlayStation 6 makes it out the door. Hashtag no PlayStation 6. I'm going to keep the boot on Kong's neck this whole generation. We're going to run it up on these bumps. Let me tell you why yet again. They're going to come out with a handheld that's going to be cheaper. It's going to be $100 more than the Switch 2. That handheld is going to be dramatically successful. And I want you to just critically think. As a business model, critically think. This thing is able to hook up to the television. You sell that device with a dock that's a passable. This is a pass-through dock, not that crazy dock that COG got. What up, Gray Fox? This is a pass-through device. If they sold something that's less metallic, more plastic, like the device that comes with the Switch 2, with a little bit more thought process, this is third party. And this device comes with that device, and you market it as something that could be hooked up to your television. That dock is going to go with the PlayStation device. It's going to hook up to the television. Then you theoretically already remove the need for having a PlayStation 6 because you already have a device that hooks up to the television that you could pick up and go. They want, and it's going to be all digital, so you can download your games to it, and they're going to make a successful run at it. If that thing sells 10 million units, you forget about the device that's $1,000 that you don't need to make. Manufacture, ship, and you concentrate on the one that you're going to make the money from. That's just the law of business. Do you see? And what I'm talking about, Xbox was actively manufacturing in their head their handheld device until something that they made came out that makes sense. Then that thing is shelved and put to the side. It's just sense. So what makes sense over here don't make sense for you? Make that make sense. I just don't talk out of my ass. I'm just telling you what I see. And I understand the corporate level of greed. If you don't understand the corporate level of greed, just look back at this year and you're seeing it. But I told you going into 2026, AI is going to destroy the way we see everything. And I guess I'm the only one that's screaming it because you guys happen to just love every damn thing that these corporations are telling you when it comes to this AI crap. And I'm watching people lose their jobs daily. And I get projections based upon the fact of the implementation of AI going forward with these corporate paperworks that show up saying how many jobs that they're going to lay off in preparation for the implementation of the AI. And you guys just sit there and just be like, bunch of suckers. But Microsoft is going to continue to push this line this line. Xbox reiterates its support for the Switch 2 with Master Chief's face right there. Now, we all know how the Unreal Engine 5 runs on the Switch 2. Yeesh. That thing is like a chore. But in some absurdly huge industry news this week, Microsoft announced Halo's being released on the PlayStation 5. Like, we didn't know that already. Like, why is this actually newsworthy? But we understood it. But, okay, it's concrete because we got a chance to see it. Reality and hyperbole is different, right? When somebody's hyping up something in the background, but actually when you see it, you're like, oh, they real. If Gears made it over there, what made you think this dude ain't gonna get over there? Forza pulled up. Sea of Thieves. Hi-Fi Rush. Like, what is it? Whatchamacallit? Blade 2. That made it over there. Like, Hellblade 2. I don't know why I was thinking about Soul Blade. Hellblade 2 made it over there. Like, what makes you think that everything isn't available? Everything is available. When does it show up? Now, they did not make Halo for Xbox people. And then you're going to say, King, that's kind of disrespectful. No, let me explain to you. Now, there's some nostalgia there for older Xbox people. Younger Xbox guys is like, whatever. Right? But then there's older PlayStation dudes and younger PlayStation dudes that probably never even seen Halo. So you put it over there to sell and the number's going to be crazy. Put it inside your Game Pass. Those Game Pass dudes ain't going to say a damn word. And for some Xbox dudes that never got a chance to play Halo is going to like it. So that game, that campaign, getting the introduction to what Halo is and Master Chief and who he is the biggest thing that they want to do. That's like introducing them to Gears of War. So when E-Day comes out, you buy. You buy. Based on the knowledge that you do have. Now, you're not going to get the rest of the Gears trilogy. You're not going to receive these games. Like, these games aren't going to be there. Oh, sorry. Enchanted Arms definitely not going to be there. But you're not going to receive these games. So you will have to be part of that ecosystem in order for that to be a thing. And some people just aren't. And that's fine. But your introduction to that and the future games is going to be there. So the Switch 2 support, remember, they signed a 10-year contract. They still haven't got the first Call of Duty. And that's based on they haven't really given out these development kits. Because Xbox will love to put their games on the Switch too. They will love to run it up on these bums. They will love to get that level of cash. But that cash can't be given yet based on what they're doing over at Nintendo. Hoarding all the resources so all the sales go their way. Because they know that they didn't put out a traditional Mario game, a traditional a Zelda game. Those things actually sell. So now you're going to get a Kirby Air Ride that's going to drop out, and you're going to get a Metroid that's going to pop out. And once that first run of games hit, I think a lot of the dev kits are going to start making it in the hands of these eager third-party developers that are eager to galvanize their games and bring it to that fan base and strip that fan base bare of their cash. Because like Nintendo knows, like everybody knows, the consumer has limited resources, and those limited resources is best spent on your first-party products because that's where you make your money from. But if you have a superior product, like all the games from Xbox that go over to the PlayStation, you're going to run it up on them bums. See, Xbox understood, oh, there's money to be made, and they're going to continue to make money. I saw something that I wanted to talk about and I wanted to show, but I think I got to show it first. and then talk about it. So hold on. Let me stop that. Shh. Be quiet. Now that's muted there. Hold on, right? It's there. All right. Video capture is good. All right. Okay. Let me switch this over. Now, me personally, I knew that they were going to start going after our wallets after the Oblivion. A lot of people didn't realize their level of commitment to bringing back blockbuster titles and making money. And, you know, my wife tapped me and woke me up because of this.
All doors are sealed for your safety. Do not attempt to reach the surface. The surface is unsafe.
This wasn't the world I wanted, but it was the one I found myself in.
We need someone who can bring the whole Commonwealth together in a common cause. And I think you've got it in you to be that leader. What do you say?
So, I know you're from a vault. How would you describe your time on the inside?
I'm going to get my son back. I'm going to find him.
I believe the term is Yahoo.
Another beautiful day. In the most dangerous place in the world.
It's the end of the world. All over again. Let's go, pal.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, I do like the game, but I'm like, give me New Vegas already. And it's like they're holding us hostage. Now, I'm opening up the DMs. The DMs is open. I mean, the Discord is open. If you want to jump inside the Discord, just jump in and we could talk about the last topic that I have here. And we see why Xbox is moving as funny as they've been moving. With Microsoft lofty goals for the Xbox profit are behind the price hikes in the studios, we find out why. We find out that Amy Hood, Brad and Satya. Now, Satya himself is preoccupied with AI. They moved him. The moment they moved him, it was like the vultures swooped in. Right? But Jason Schreier has been working on this piece for a minute. So this isn't like something new that we heard about. But when the highest margins that they hit was 17 to 22%, and PlayStation is operating, well, Xbox hit 12. PlayStation is operating at 17. I think the highest was like 22 was Nintendo. I cram to understand the thought process in trying to forcefully put Xbox in this position. Now, all this stuff is brought to you by the wonderful world of AI. All of this information that they feel that you haven't reached your potential based upon what AI felt. That if you actually change this, that, and the third, and move this around and did this and whatever the hell, you can work at optimum proficiency and you would achieve a 30%. By who? That's like your nutritionist going home telling you that you can be an Olympic athlete. I'm talking about you as you are right now. If you just fasted 5 times out of the week, and then after your fast, you just had water, and then on those 2 days, and you can get back to it, but you need to work out 10 times a day. And then, you'll maximize your bench, and by the end of the fiscal period, you'll be an Olympic athlete. You'll be dead. You'll be dead. That's considering all things operating on the wildest variable is the consumer. This is the thing that the AI doesn't take in consideration. And I don't care if you have 525 monthly active users, 525 million monthly active users. For you to use your database based upon that information that you have extrapolated from your consumers, and then your millions of consumers that you have on PC. That information fed into your AI. I don't care what you're saying. You can't definitively predict how the market is going to react to your product. Because if you can, by far, define how much that you're going to make, then first of all, you're supposed to be in the number one position. Second of all, things that ABK deal shouldn't have took as long because you should have used AI to predict Sony's way. And this is what I'm talking about. There's unpredictable variables based upon the market conditions that will force Microsoft never to achieve those goals. And the fact that she put something so extravagant, a number that is so beyond comprehension, the fact that that number is based and put upon teams of individuals will force you to believe that she is actively trying to crush and destroy the Xbox brand and force people like Phil Dominus, Maximus Aurelius Spencer out the door. Because if Phil leaves, so does Matt. I think Sarah stays. But I want y'all to think about this. I want you to really have this thought process. I want you to really understand. For a long time, the person that's been holding that Xbox brand on his back has been Phil. For a very long time. For a long time, like you getting games like Ninja Gaiden 4 was based upon him, not anybody else. You getting stuff like that remake or remaster of Fallout 4 when you want New Vegas or you want 3, that's based on them. That's based on the numbers that they feel that do well. The day that he's no longer there is the day that you get a true shell of who they were. Because that's when it turns into stupid conversations. You remember when Sean Layden left PlayStation? Well, Sean Layden was fired from PlayStation. Remember when he was unceremoniously removed? Remember that? PlayStation was in their heyday then. As much as I mess around and bother Sean, Jack, and that team with Shohei was the absolute backbone of what the PlayStation was built on. With innovators like Ken Kutaragi, son, the father of the PlayStation, not the PlayStation 4, not Mark Cerny and the PlayStation 5, not those shit boxes, not those. I'm talking about the last great PlayStation console, the PlayStation 3. With those individuals forced out, that company will tell you stuff like you will get one AAA title a year, where the PlayStation used to churn them out. They were a cornucopia of ideas, cultivating and pushing innovation in the gaming software category. While Xbox, and I got to give Mikey Barr his props, when Mikey Barr was there, while Xbox heyday was the days of pushing the hardware forward, he was there too. I'm not going to exclude him. Now, Microsoft and Xbox has never stopped innovating in the hardware space or the ecosystem of whatever Xbox has become now, because it's undefinable, right? When you put your brand as everything is an Xbox, you really can't quantify what that truly means, because the language when they're talking to you is definitely ambiguous. It's not something that you can truly follow, because everything is what they choose it to be. So, PlayStation, one game a year, that's not indicative of who they were. They changed. Xbox, proving innovation, but you can't peg them down. They're not who they were. Nintendo, everybody's seeming to hold on to Nintendo like they're the last damn bastion. But let me explain something to you about the house that houses Mario. They're moving further and further away from who you remember them to be. Now, I don't know if you remember exactly who they were, but I actually remember exactly who they were. Their business practices are definitely ruthless, and definitely one of the reasons why Sega couldn't really get mass market penetration in their home country and were forced out. But a lot of bumbling and stumbling was based upon Sega's own fault. Nintendo is furthering the distance between physical and digital. I think by the end of this cycle with the Switch 2, they will have achieved the ultimate goal, which making that device a completely digital device, because they're going to start shipping games that are too large to put on cart, and they're going to have partial on cart and partial downloads. And that's going to be like a mandatory thing, because the games are going to be consistently large in scope. And based on that largeness and scope, they're going to be further and further away from actually having the full physical game on that cartridge, which what made the Switch 1 so compelling to physical collectors. All three are changing in a way that the industry is forcing them to make these changes. Now, Xbox is not going to be the new Sega. They can't be. And somebody eloquated inside the chat that they can't be because Xbox has enough money. Well, Microsoft has enough money to keep Xbox viable. No, that's not it. They can't be the new Sega because they outsold what Microsoft is making money on. Windows. That was the moment things changed. That was the moment I told y'all it's up. That was the moment I knew change was going to come, and it was going to come rapidly, and it was going to be very different. Remember when I told you? They're going to go from last to first so damn fast, it's going to make your head spin. This is what everybody was worried about when they was talking about big corporation. Remember when everybody kept worrying about Xbox or Microsoft and just trying to figure it out? But for a long time, Microsoft never really meddled inside Xbox business until Phil came and took that big loan in order to get ABK. Because up until then, they got Bethesda and they was doing their little thing, and they got Ninja Theory and Coalition, But they did this Game Pass thing, and that Game Pass wrote a check that they asked in cash. And the pandemic gave them reason to believe that they were going to succeed in their goal in having 50 million subs and 100 million by that Christmas. Well, the pandemic ended early, and they were standing there holding their joint in their hand. And now you got money to pay. So now they got to do something strange for some change and no longer be who we thought they were. They have to be a little bit different. But during that period of time, they outsold Windows. Now the hood is out. Amy Hood is here, and she wants her money. She's going to push those profit margins regardless to whatever we think. So they're not going to ever be able to become Sega. There's always going to be hardware, and there's always going to be software, and is it going to be software that's going to be as compelling as you want it to be? Or is it going to be something safe, like Halo Campaign Evolved? Instead of pushing a whole brand new Halo that I'm begging for. Now, we do see that Forza Horizon 6 is hidden, but where's the next Forza? Because this last Forza I felt was too safe for me. What I don't want from Microsoft and I don't want from Xbox is for them to play this generation coming up safe. I don't want them to play this current generation that we're in safe. I want them to be as bold as they need to be. I want them to be as diverse as I want them to be. I want them to have as many different quirky games that is possible. I want them to fill Game Pass up with all the ID at Xbox stuff that they possibly can, and also sprinkle in first-party titles from different developers as well as themselves. I need them to be super successful going forward because that's where I game and that's where I love. Game Pass is something that I look forward to. With stuff like Pacific Drive launching inside Game Pass, dropping inside Game Pass, being playable during this holiday season, the Halloween, I'm elated in this. There's a thought process. If you stray too far away from the core, can you come back? I leave you with this. Can a sinner become a saint? Because if a saint can become a sinner, can you reverse the process? I truly believe that there's redemption left in the hands of Microsoft and Xbox. I truly believe that Xbox can actually do good by the fan base. I truly believe next year is going to be a year of transformation and change, and is going to show you things that you didn't think was possible with the Xbox brand. At no point in time do I believe that the Xbox brand is dead, nor do I believe that Microsoft will let off the boot on their neck. But I do believe that we're in precarious times where every game counts and every game matters. So that's why I was so hard on the demo that I played with Halo. I felt that it was a little rough around the edges, and it's supposed to be more than a year out. But again, I'm glad they did this and didn't do what Halo Infinite did with Craig Face. I'm glad they gave us a chance to play the game ahead of time, to give our level of criticism and telling them what they need to fix, how they need to fix it, and make sure that this stuff is fixed, because we're holding you to a different standard. We're going to hold you accountable for all the stuff that you've done in the past and all the stuff that you're going to do in the future. With that level of accountability and integrity being shown on Xbox, hopefully that stuff trickles down into the realm. And everybody else will voice their opinion in that matter, because I'm pretty sure at some point y'all all will get a chance to play that demo. Probably a little bit more polished sometime next year. I think so. I think they will let it out in the wild and you guys get a chance to play. But this is Xbox Frontline News with your boy, The King. Now, I left the DMs open and I'm jumping out right now because ain't nobody show up, and that means that y'all had nothing to say when it came to any of the topics. And that's cool. But I'm going to do like I always tell y'all to do. And later on today, you can catch me on Point as we talk Halo, Xbox, Microsoft, and everything that's going on in the industry based upon my knowledge, their knowledge, and the knowledge has been spread around. And I'm going to tell you to do what I always do, what I'm going to do, is try to play the Game Pass and go listen to this hell of an intro.
What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game, but you what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox. Spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talking, no wriggling. Moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That flash making a portrait. Gun kick back, now grannies from porches. David on the sea, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game, but you what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Said what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Said what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh?